Chapter 6. Programming Languages. Through the door of the empty warehouse was a flight of metal stairs which seemed to rise endlessly. Peter knew that he must be a long way down after his trip in the pipe. He started to climb. His footsteps echoed in the stairwell, and he was surprised at how much his legs ached when he eventually came to the top. He walked through the only door into a deserted alley at the back of the building, next to bins and discarded packing crates. Then it became real. He was back. All the days of hoping and wishing, but never really believing that he'd make it, it had come true. In some ways he was too overwhelmed to feel that it was real. He wanted to shout out that he'd returned, but he also wanted to hide and protect it. He sewed the shattered tablet inside his jacket pocket, removed the flying suit, and hid it behind one of the crates. He crossed the road in front of the building a minute later. 2 minutes after that, people arrived and searched the building. They didn't find the guard, but they found the flying suit, then headed back away from the town. It didn't take long for Peter to recognise familiar sights and realise that he'd gone in the wrong direction. He made a few adjustments to his route that brought him to the pub 20 minutes later. He was still 30 minutes early. This area of the old town was the same as when he had left it. There were a few shops that he didn't recognise and some of the road signs directed to places he'd never heard of. But he was home. Each corner was like a photo album. The town fitted him like a favourite old overcoat. The hex dump was Zeta's name for a pub in the old quarter called the Space Bar. It was the place where the programmers met. Peter had never set foot in there, but Zeta had been a popular young woman and explored parts of the town that most inhabitants never knew existed. This was one of those locations. Peter had long suspected that she had known one or two of the programmers pretty well. He had never liked to ask, and she had never told him. Each computer language had its own representative in the town that managed the code for the outside world. Some had been there for decades, but there was always a group of loud, brash new reps who fancied that their new language was going to be the next big thing. All of them quietened down after a few months, and many of them slunk off after about a year, never to be seen in the bar again. Peter entered cautiously. He looked around. He had hoped to see Zeta, so he wouldn't have to stay, but a quick scan of the room showed no sign of her. It was early evening, so the place was a little quiet for a Saturday night. Alone in a corner, wearing a tweed jacket, skirt, brogues, and a furious expression, was a square-shaped woman, red in the face, with a large glass of what looked like brandy. Peter kept clear of her. He went up to the bar. The currency was the same as in the rest of the country, but the price of drinks was considerably lower than it had been in the outside world. There was a group of programmers up at the bar having a discussion. He didn't want to get noticed, so he ordered his drink and went to another corner and sat where he could watch the door to see when Zeta arrived. He was nervous what her reaction would be and couldn't settle or get comfortable. They hadn't seen each other for 4 years. Peter wondered whether they were still legally married. After a couple of minutes, the argument at the bar tailed off and the group broke up into smaller ones, 2 of which came over and sat at the table in front of Peter. He could overhear their conversation, but they blocked his view, so he shifted his seat a little. "You're wrong, Java," said the woman. "It can't be. We've been protected all this time. Why would someone threaten us now?" "Ruby," said the one called Java, "I love your trusting nature. I wish I could share it. But you're server-side. You don't do the interface stuff. I do. And whatever is going on, it's not a glitch in the system. Glitches are annoying. This is dangerous." He took a drink and choked. "Algol died. That was just an accident," said Ruby. "Was it?" Java looked darkly over his pint. He placed it down on the table and gestured across the bar. "Kobolodi just escaped with her life." They both looked over at the red-faced woman Peter had seen when he had entered. Java looked round and caught Peter's eye. "Hello," he said. "Don't believe we met. I'm Java, and this is my friend Ruby, who's gone off the rails today." Ruby looked at Java with an expression of bemused exasperation. "You just talk to anyone, don't you?" She turned to Peter and said, "Hi, I'm Ruby on rails, and don't believe a word this idiot says." "Hi," said Peter, and returned his watch on the door. Undeterred, Java turned his chair to Peter. "So, what do you think?" he asked. "About what?" Peter was aware that he was completely out of the loop. "With the attacks. What else?" responded Java. "Yeah, real bad," grimaced Peter, and nodded his head. He was aware that he knew next to nothing, but he also felt under pressure to start on his mission to find stuff out. "Bad?" said Java. "I say so. What do you think we should do about it?" "I don't really know enough about it. What do you think we should do?" "Fight, of course," said Java. Fight back with everything we've got. This is a war, a modern war, and we're on the battlefield whether we realise it or not. Do you think it's really that bad? Asked Peter. You see, said Ruby. She gestured towards Peter but spoke to Java. Non-programmers don't know what's going on. They're being told a pack of lies. Who's been told a pack of lies? Another one of the early group came up to them. May I join you? He said, and pulled up a chair. Java looked a little uncomfortable. That seat's reserved for object-oriented programmers, JavaScript. JavaScript looked hurt and walked off. Ruby tried not to laugh. Oh, go and call your brother back, she teased. Java looked annoyed. He's not my brother. He turned to Peter. He's not my brother. He has nothing to do with me. Peter looked a little embarrassed at the chat between the men. He looked round and saw two very rigid programmers who stood nearby. One was incredibly thin, while the other looked like his rounder brother. Java called out, Hey, C++. Come on over, guys. Come and join in our conversation. The brothers looked at each other. The larger one turned to Java and said, The function of the discourse will be rendered non-germane by our verbalised disquisition. He then turned back to talk to his brother. Java looked at Ruby and shook his head. Didn't understand one word, he said. Not a single one, snorted Ruby, and they both wheezed with laughter. Peter felt trapped. He was worried that he didn't know enough and risked giving himself away. He seriously thought about making a break for it. He could wait for Zeta outside. The chance of being uncovered in here was greater than the chance of being recognised outside. Another programmer came up to the group. He wore a big smile and walked up to Java. Don't be mean. When have they ever been rude to you? But that's just it. Java continued to laugh. They've probably been rude all the time. I just wouldn't know. You're not going to try and spread happiness and goodwill, are you, Python? Java seemed to know the new arrival. Python swung a chair around and sat down. Something you should be working on. I just passed JavaScript, who's looking a little upset. It's not his fault you share a name. All right. I'll go and apologise. Where's he gone? Said Java, and stayed in his seat. Python leant back and pointed to the other corner of the bar. He went over to talk to PHP, who's desperately trying to get it together with SQL again. They're made for each other, all three of them. Anyway, what do you want, Python? Asked Java. Ultimately, your ability to get on with everyone that matters. But right now, I need to chat with your new friend here. He looked over at Peter and said, Hello, I'm Python. I believe your friend is waiting for you outside. Java and Ruby both stared at him. Oh, right. Well, it was very nice meeting you, he said to no one in particular, and got up to leave. As he walked past Ruby, she grabbed his arm. Don't believe what the government tells you. She looked serious. All the humour of before had vanished. They're a bunch of liars. These aren't caused by gas leaks and subsidence. We're being attacked. Right, I'll remember that. Thank you, said Peter, and he walked out of the bar, more concerned about meeting up with Zeta than any threats to the town.